So the theme of this video is asking questions, and I want to ask you a question. You, who are who's my partner? I've asked you very clearly, very intentionally, that we would ask each other questions, that you would ask me questions about myself. I would, early on, when we were dating, bring questions to our dates, questions that were about all kinds of themes, about money, about housework, about sex, about family, and asking each other questions on, things that are foundational to people who were getting to know each other and who might want to stay together for a while. Or who were wondering if that's what they want to do, maybe, which I think that was more like the case. And I'm curious, like after all this time, it's something I used to do, still do it. We did it last week in the bathtub. It's something that it's something that I will keep doing with you, and I appreciate it very much. And if you look back from the moment the ask was made and the moment that you saw that this was important for me, how has this practice impacted your life?
I mean, the impact that it had when you first asked me to explicitly ask you more questions, because it didn't come naturally to me at first. I think after I got over the light bruising of my ego, I was able to see just how much it meant to you and how much it was meaning to me too, even though I was unaware of it. I wasn't conscious of it, but I was most definitely taking advantage of it. So I also, when I became conscious of the fact that I wasn't asking questions in my day-to-day life, started to notice that some people, when I instead would ask them questions to further go into their story, as opposed to finding some element of their story to bring back into my own story, that's when I would see people's passions light up, and or sometimes in emotional pain, or something a little more interesting to talk about than what the original statement might have been. So this sort of fear of small talk, that small talk is often, I'm starting to see, is often just a seed of a conversation that can be had that's not small talk. Someone that says, oh, I had a bad day at work, and you go, well, how do you feel about your work in general? That could grow into a proper conversation about their career path, how they've been struggling to make a decision about something. So that small talk element, where you could have easily said, your work was bad, like my work was really bad too, and you're bringing that back, and you kind of crushed the other person's seed that they planted. So I've started to see that I was often the crusher of seeds. Yeah, I'm really glad that you did push through the effort of making this a practice between us. I remember doing the 8 dates with you from that book, and those were like really interesting dates. It almost had like this formula, so it was like calming for me too, as an anxious person that I am.
It's interesting you say that it's calming for you, because maybe something I never told you is that sometimes, even though the ask was very explicit and you were always very willing to participate in it, I would wonder, just how much this feels like an exercise and just how much this feels like a date for you. So I would, make sure to take care of the need on doing that on a date, but I had no idea this could feel calming for you. I'm learning this now as you talk about it.
I mean, it's a bit of both. There was a bit of this exercise formulaic thing that I was a little bit, I guess, guarded against at first. But the results are like so quick, like through the date. And even though like we might be going off on a little tangent, and then we come back to the date. There's a bit of this almost a hiccup of like, oh, okay, we're doing this exercise, but then the question is asked, and then you get into the flow again. And so I would say that the value was well worth those little hiccups, those little moments. They're so minor, and they might have just been coming from the fact that it was so new to me.
I really appreciate your willingness to say yes to my ask and to jump on board with me and not only fulfill my desires to have a more deep relationship, but also to see that you change your own life in its own way with other people. And that's even better. We were in an event a couple of days ago, and I mean, you bought your own deck of cards.
I did.
Because many of those questions, they came out of either a book or the internet, or I have a few deck of cards with questions to help bring new ideas, questions that I wouldn't have thought of asking. But then a few months ago, you bought your own set of cards, and you even brought to an event with friends.
I got that Strangers edition, and because that was something that I struggled with at parties is how the hell do I talk to this stranger that I've never encountered? How do I approach? And so I think that deck of cards is this way to just sort of create connections quickly, and I think we're all dealing with talking to strangers. I don't think that's uncommon. And it's very interesting that when I pulled out that deck of cards at our last event there, a circle formed almost like immediately, and started playing with 2 people, and then it turned into 4, and then there was 6 or 7 of us in there, and we're all tossing questions around and sharing some intimate things about ourselves openly that might not have. So
I think it comes to show the hunger that we all have, right? To feel that somebody's interested in us.
That's it.
In what we really have to say, and show interest in a way that feels safe. It's part of the container. It's part of the game. Yeah. Would you like to read a couple questions just to give people a feel of what they might look like?
Sure.
Yeah. Maybe get the
We're
orange
gonna
deck.
go from our cards here. So this is one of the deck of cards that we have. This is the And.
They tend to be deep questions, very intimate, about the relationship between 2 people. Wow. Stuff like, when do I embarrass you?
Wow.
Yeah, there's some
brutal.
questions that are, made to really go where it hurts.
Yeah. You can skip those.
But this one, what's your favorite imperfection about me? Same vein.
My favorite imperfection about you.
I'm gonna let you choose.
Okay.
What's your favorite imperfection about me? What do you think drives me?
So this is something too that is coming up right now after you ask the question, is that the part that feels good about these games is that I can stop and really think, and you give me the space to do that. You don't start filling my mouth with words and on the clock. And I think it gives this sense of time distortion, like we're really spending time together as opposed to getting some activity done, so check it off our to-do list. So I think the way we play, and the way you brought that play, because that was something I did, has really changed as well for the depth of our relationship.
Yeah, it's not about how many cards you do, but how much you enjoy the process.
I mean, I know there's been times where we pick up these decks of cards and we do like 2 questions, and then the rest of the night is history kind of thing. So thanks for that. But coming back to your question, let me see these. What's your favorite imperfection about me? What do you think drives me? Yeah, I think I'm going to go to, what do you think drives me? So what I think drives you, a desire to create a healthy community that's aware of their traumas, aware of their own functionings, and growing and feeding each other emotionally, feeding each other socially, and all of these things. I think it's really nice that it's not just limited to connecting you and I, but connecting strangers. And I mean, it's obviously part of your work very explicitly. So I would say that that would be your primary drive, is building better connections. Yeah.
And yeah, and I think it's interesting, right? Because in my work is to connect with people and help them open up and connect to themselves through the connection with me. And it's such a rewarding space. I feel so comfortable there. Then when I'm outside of that space with regular people that I don't know, all I want is to create that same sense of connection and intimacy, and like go to where there's actually something real, quote unquote. So I'm always yearning for that and trying to manage how far I go, how fast I go, how comfortable I can make people feel or not, because that's where I live. And of course I live this with you, and I do want to live this with other people too.